Today, let's make a tulle skirt. For the skirt, I bought 8 yards of tulle. The lady at the cutting counter said that professional tutus normally take 16 yards, so I'll include some dimensions at the bottom. But then I just started to gather all of it using pleats. So I did as many pleats as I could get, about an inch pleat, and then made that go all the way around, and then I cut that, and that was one layer of my fabric. So again, I will link all the dimensions at the bottom, and then I basically continued this for each layer around my skirt. So continued with this gathering and continued using my little quilting clips. It's looking like it uses about 2¼ yards, 2½ yards for each layer. So I'm thinking I'll be able to get another 2 more layers. So here is my second layer. You're starting to see that it is kind of getting more full. It has that purple color. It's not as see-through as it was, but I am thinking that I'm gonna have to add a layer since I only have 8 yards. I don't have even more tulle. I probably need to get more. And then I also need to have a little bit extra for a waistband to go on top. So again, I just kept gathering until I got that third layer also complete. And this is what the poofiness level, I guess is what you could call it. This is what it will look like. So at the moment, I have the pleats held together with those quilting clips for all 3 layers of the tulle skirt. So while I need to do the waistband still first, I need to sew those pleats in place. So for each layer, I'm just going to take a straight seam all the way across to sew the pleats in. So since I had those layers now started, what I wanted to see was what the waistband was going to look like. So I have that extra tulle. It was about 1 yard or so. And what I'm going to do is basically fold it in on itself and then have this little kind of pocket underneath. And that's where I'm going to put the raw edge of the layers so that you're not able to see it. First though, I wanted to drape everything out. I did include a lining so that it's not completely see-through since I didn't have quite enough tulle. And what I'm gonna do is actually drape all of this onto my dress form to see what it looks like. So that's gonna be adding that lining layer, adding each layer of the pleated tulle, and then with that waistband to see, like what is this all gonna look like when it comes together. So this is how it's appearing. I really like how it looks. The lining looks good underneath. So now what I need to do is cut out that lining and get it sewn and ready to go. So to do this, I also did not use a pattern. I cut out how big my waist was, and then I really just kind of added a little extra onto that. And then I had it flare out slightly at the bottom so it was more A-line. And I'm just going to take a seam to basically bring all of these pieces together. Now for my lining, I decided to start with the hem as I just got this really cool rolled hem foot that I wanted to try out. I will include a link in case you would like to see more about these. I did a whole video about it, but it worked really well and I was able to get a really nice thin seam that would be perfect for the hem. Now with the hem complete, what I wanted to do was start layering all of the different pieces of material. So I have those 3 layers of tulle and I have the lining, and I just use my quilting clips to connect all of it, and I'm just going to take one long seam all the way across to make it one continuous piece. As you can see, it was a lot of material to work with, but it was really fun and ended up being easy to sew it all through. So here is my skirt so far. I love how it's turning out. It looks really good. The hem looks nice so that you can't really see any of the raw edges. You just have this top, and that was going to be covered by my waistband. Now if I come around to the back here, what you can see is that there is a little extra fabric, and that is okay as I'm going to be adding a zipper, and that is what it will be closing this off. It'll be finishing it off so you can't really see any of that part. Now though, I'm going to work on my waistband, and basically I'm just going to continuously folding this over so that I get kind of like bias tape essentially, but a very large piece of bias tape that will be the waistband, and I'll be able to close off those raw edges. So where I have the little quilting clips, I'm just going to undo those and basically insert it onto my skirt. So you can see here, I've started to do this where I actually did need to use the pins once I had the skirt portion in the waistband, and then I'm just going to continue the same process all the way through. So this basically just acts as a cover for that raw edge and then gives us a nice clean waistband look and kind of adds some definition to the skirt itself. Once I had it all pinned up, I just took a straight seam all the way along the bottom. So here is my skirt so far. I love how it's turning out. It has that waistband, and then we have all of those layers of tulle as well as the lining. So now what's time to focus on is the back portion, as we still need to add the zipper, and then I also need to figure out what to do with this extra fabric. So for a lot of this, I am going to end up cutting it off as it was not needed. It was just more there in case I needed any extra, I would have it. But first, I'm actually going to be sewing up the lining, and then I will be continuing this for each of those layers. So you need to make sure it's able to get over your hips. But once you do that, you can actually start to sew some of this up, as the zipper will not be going down that far. Now for the zipper itself, I actually only attached it to the lining. I'm not going to attach it to the tulle, but I had so many different colors I could choose from. I had some lighter colors. I did not have a gray, and I didn't want to go out and buy a new zipper. So I ended up just using a dark purple, as that matched the tulle material best and it wouldn't show through. So once I had that zipper done, I just took that seam and then repeated for the other side. Last but not least, it was time to focus on the waistband. So right now I just kind of have it pinned in place, but what I'm going to do is actually add these little hook and eye clasps so that it will nicely go over and you'll be able to put it on. So I'm just going to be adding 2. I'm going to sew the second one now onto the bottom of it, and then the skirt itself will be complete. So here is my completed tulle skirt. I absolutely love how it turned out. It is so poofy, it's so fun. I love the color that I picked also. This is just like a really pretty purple color, and I'm so excited to get to wear it out. If you like this video and you want to see more, be sure to like and subscribe.